Hello, y'all. Hello, happy Saturday, or whenever you're reading this, or watching this, happy day. We're back in business, I think. So I did take the day off yesterday because I had a little that was not feeling very well. He woke up. It's funny, actually. Well, it's not funny, but I was laying in bed, and he always comes in the middle of the night and like crawls in next to me. And I was laying there, and all of a sudden he just gets up and just bleh. I'm like, oh boy, okay, like good morning. It's gonna be one of those days. So he stayed home yesterday, and mom just kind of like nurtured him all day. But then about, I don't know, like mid-afternoon or so, he was running around kicking a volleyball like it was a soccer ball. So I think he, I don't know, maybe just had something that didn't sit right with him, or, I don't know. Sometimes with these kids, they're super resilient. He never had a fever or nothing. So it, I don't know. Whatever it was short lived, thankfully. And so we're back in business today. And what we're going to do today is a reading about what you're not seeing. So I am going into this blindly. I'll ask 3 questions about what it is that you're not seeing. And then whatever the cards say, that's what we'll talk about. So we'll go ahead and dive right into it. This is group 1, group 2, and group 3. Hello, group 1. You know what I thought about doing? Just so I can distinguish some of the groups, every now and then I'll have people comment and they won't say which collective or which group they came from. So maybe giving you little emojis or something to put down below. Like maybe y'all can be the sun emoji because there's like the sun on this. So we'll do that. If you are in group 1, put a sun emoji in the comments. How about that? Okay, I'm actually going to just dive right into it. So we're going to do 3 questions about what it is that you're not seeing. We're going into this blindly. So whatever the cards have to say, that's what we're going to talk about. Let's get into it, group 1. What is group 1 not seeing? Oh, there's one that wanted to peek out, but actually, let's do this guy. What is group 1 not seeing? Could be perhaps not seeing some sort of effort around you, or something that's being offered to you. Hang on. What is that noise? There's a helicopter in town. Can y'all hear that? Or maybe it's a train approaching. Tower on the bottom of the deck, star on the bottom of the deck, lovers on the bottom of the deck. Hold up. And hey, okay. Let's see. It seems like that what you're not seeing is some sort of something being offered to you. It does seem like it does have something to do with a connection, or at least that it's surrounding perhaps relationships or romantic sort of endeavors, I suppose. But this would be something or someone offering you some sort of emotion, some sort of bringing in some stability. I would argue that this is a person or a situation anyway that's very supportive of you and comes in sort of as an acts of service type of energy. And a little bit of they might have a little maybe a little unspoken passion towards you, or some sort of perhaps like some intimate feelings for you. But I would argue with the way that the Page of Wands is coming out that it's kind of buried. So perhaps there's somebody around you that's maybe like slowly kind of like creeping into your space, and they are offering something small, or just maybe not, it might not seem as big to you in the moment. Okay, and so what I feel like you're not seeing is there's going to be a moment, either this, so the thing is this is coming in where it can either be a person or a scenario or a situation. So it can be that there is some sort of, like, it seems like a little seed, okay, being planted, and then all of a sudden there's going to be like this, I don't know, like a big storm that waters the seed exponentially in like a short period of time, and then that's going to transpire into this bigger awareness, I suppose, in which you're going to be sort of the center of some sort of situation, or some sort of, perhaps even a relationship, where there is this, and it's not even, so here's the thing, this is really weird, y'all, for group one, is that it could be sort of several different narratives in this space, which I know sounds a little bit vague, and I would argue that not all of the readings are this vague, but they keep coming in and like, well, this works as well, or this is also a thing, is that this could actually be like one small seed that you're planting for self, and then it blossoms into this big moment for yourself, and it's like kind of all this hard work that you put into a certain space, or even in your own self, like your health in some capacity, or the way in which you are, your mind, mind, body, and soul is all encompassing. I really dislike when we get into spaces where our focus is always on just like aesthetics and appearance, and doesn't really factor in soul or mind. So this would be like an all-encompassing space in which we've been really working on self, and then that is paying off, at least with the star card anyway, in my opinion. This bringing in some kind of union, partnership, love, some kind of harmonious, equal give and take space. I would argue that it doesn't have to be romance, but it does feel like it is surrounding a relationship. And that there's going to be somebody who maybe comes in and they don't seem like they really have a lot to offer, and then they have the most to offer kind of vibe, which I think sometimes that's how it works. And this will be somebody or something that is, well, first of all, this is Virgo energy here too. Okay, so if you want to know signs, we can get into, so we have water signs, Capricorn as well, earth signs, Taurus here, also some fire energy, and Mars coming out here, Aquarius, Gemini, and Virgo here. This is like the only deck that I'm learning what's connected to what, so you'll have to bear with me. But so that kind of energy would be in it for the long haul kind of energy. Once it commits, I suppose. I wouldn't say that earth energy is super easy to get to commit, in my opinion. I feel like it takes a special blend to be able to commit in with a Virgo or a Taurus or a Capricorn. Those earth energies are loyal AF, but not easy to get on your side, in my opinion. But this would be somebody that is willing to put on in the work with you, or willing to do the work, or also hard work paying off too. All of those sort of overlapping scenarios here. The interesting thing is that I feel like there are just several people that are tapping into this energy, like into this particular group and into this particular collective, and it seems as though they're like overlapping scenes and scenarios that are going to hit with you. So it's actually, in this particular read, seems that there are overlapping timelines, even, where I feel like it's not necessarily that, oh, some of you have put in work here and some of you put in work here. I feel like it's you've put work in those spaces simultaneously, and they're sort of running in parallel together, right? So this hard work that you're putting in on self is going to help you with the hard work that is being put in elsewhere, or that hard work is going to pay off in other connections, and there are seeds that are going to be planted sort of as an all-encompassing reality. And the thing is that I feel like it's what you're not seeing realistically is that Oh, I just said this actually the other day, that success is a slow burn. That if you want to get, like, if you want a shortcut to success, and you're going to have to stomp on people to get there, typically, right? And I just thought about this the other day, that when I was tapped into a collective that I would have considered just stuck kind of on the same type of videos over and over again, that building numbers was a lot easier in that space when I was sort of feeding that collective. But essentially what I would have been feeding is them remaining stuck, and I couldn't do that just as a human. I thought, well, that doesn't serve anybody realistically, except for me. The only person benefiting in that scenario would be me, and I feel like that's just a little bit selfish. So this is like also talking about the slow burn, about how, when you plant a seed, it doesn't just bloom overnight. It takes time. So this slow process, and more importantly, this well-intentioned process, group one, these are things that come from good intention. We don't step on anyone to get to tomorrow. We don't look at anything with animosity. We don't put others down to feel better about ourselves in this space. And so that's something that those things, and it's hard not to, in a space and in a world where other people do that. I just had a situation very recently where someone talked to me and kind of talked down about something, about what I'm doing here, and I thought that sucks, because I would really have thought that that person would have been a lot more supportive, and just the way it came across was really passive aggressive. And so it's just, sometimes it's easy for us to project without even realizing it. Now, obviously, I know that I don't think that person always projects, so I think it was just a moment. But and here's the thing, group one, having that awareness with people, understanding that people make mistakes, understanding that we say things sometimes that aren't necessarily a reflection of how we feel about somebody else, but how we feel about ourselves, and then we project that onto people we care about. And I think that you in this collective have really built an awareness that that's not how to alchemize, that's not how to get to point B. And so there is an understanding that I do feel like in this collective, there may have been many moments where it's felt like I'm kind of done waiting for my moment, or feeling like it's really essentially purgatory, or feeling very stuck, or feeling very like there is no sort of no light at the end of the tunnel, and it's always work, and it's always a new thing every day that we have to work on, and it's a new space of some kind of obstacle that's in our way. And this is really the reminder of how alchemy works realistically. In order for someone to build resilience and mental strength, they have to have been knocked to the bottom, or started at the bottom, and that's how you build an exponential amount of resilience realistically. So this is really this reminder that it's good things come to those who wait kind of vibe. It's also an indicator that all that work that was put in, all those sort of baby steps, or those setbacks, or those moments that it was even frustrating to be in that space, is sort of, I think what your message here in this moment realistically that you're not seeing is that take a look back at where you came from. There's probably a mountain behind you that you climbed, but because it was such a slow process, it's sometimes easy to forget the mountain we just climbed, because it was, over a course of, oftentimes it can be years, even it can be several years, and then all of a sudden we're on the other side of the mountain, and it's like, oh, hold on, I just climbed a mountain. And so really it's kind of like a congratulatory space a little bit, and it's, or just a moment of pause and reflection for you to look back. I think that realistically what you're not maybe seeing in this moment is how far you've come. Okay, let's go into the second part of your message, group one. Have you heard that song? It's like, what's it called? Good Neighbors, Home. I don't know which one it is, like Home, Good Neighbors. Oh my goodness, that song is stuck in my head. Okay, what is the mystery for, I'm going to put this back because I was talking. What is the second mystery? Mystery? Hold up. What is the second? Let me just fumble all over this. How about that? What else are we not seeing for group one? Thank you. There's that little page of swords coming out. Okay. Oh, so there's something that we're really not seeing. Okay. Four of Cups is very much that vibe, right? Is sort of something being offered to us and we're kind of being fixated elsewhere. There's some kind of... okay, hold up. Let's get bottom of the deck before we go into that. Because that Five of Cups kind of tripped me up a little bit. Scorpio energy. Oh, this is interesting because it's like on one aspect there was like a slow... I'm actually going to pull out this whole bottom of the deck because this seems very important. Hold up. We got one more because it's just a moment. It's a moment when I show up God saying, wow. Okay. Interesting. So I think what is fascinating is that in the first phase it was talking about just like slow moving and those seeds kind of a bit like rooting and growing over time. And then this is really talking about some kind of risk and something coming in quickly. We'll get into the bottom row, but first I just want to go into the top really quick. There is some sort of, so I feel like there's something or someone that you've been fixated on. And this would be something where it's the way it's coming in is that the thing that you're focused on or tunnel visioned on isn't as good as the thing being offered to you. This, like, you know, this cup comes right out of this. Like, first of all, if you were sitting there and you were just, you know, sitting under a tree, like Sir Three of Cups here, I'm sorry, Four of Cups here, and a cloud like formed and a hand came out of the sky and offered you a cup and you didn't see that, that might mean that you are tunnel visioned onto things that are much less exciting because there's something coming in that is an offer or an opportunity, and you might miss this opportunity by being sort of tunnel visioned on sort of these things that are burdening you in a sense. Maybe won't see some sort of emotional space or some kind of cup of emotion being offered to you. This is, you know, the Ace of Cups is like being offered some sort of love or some sort of compassion or a proposal of some kind. Realistically, you know, it comes in as here I have a overflowing cup of love for you. And interestingly enough is that because, you know, here's the thing about the Ace of Cups and the Four of Cups. Do you see how it's sort of like this is the bird's eye view, or this is like zooming out and looking at the scene, right? Well, this is zooming into the scene. So when you zoom in, see this hand, how it's coming out of a cloud and it's got a cup here. Well, if you notice on the Ace of Cups, there's a cloud and there's coming out of the sky. And so this is sort of like zooming in actually on the opportunity that is in front of you. So there is some kind of opportunity. There is something, however, that you are going to need to put down or walk away from in order to accept this opportunity. And it could, so it doesn't have to be, oh, I'm walking away from a person or a job or a location, or it doesn't have to be something even that concrete or specific. It could be you're walking away from patterns of behavior even. So walking away from repeating cycles, walking away from seeing sort of these Page of Wands energies as though they have more to offer. In fact, seeing Page of Wands as though they're a King of Pentacles, right? So funny, the King of Pentacles come out with the community page, the thing last night. Oh, if you saw that, it was a joke about calling the King of Pentacles a sugar daddy. I just thought it was funny. I don't necessarily recommend a sugar daddy, but I mean, whatever. It's your life. You can do whatever you want. Anyway, but it's sort of seeing these as having more to offer than they do. Now, it's interesting because the Page of Wands does talk about potential, but in my opinion, the way that the Page of Wands comes out is like, it's just potential. It's like just ideas. It's just, it's like, yes, this person, it's kind of like all talk and no action, in my opinion. You know, it's not a whole lot of action happening in the page energy. It's more so of like ideas being formed. Well, if you get into a space with a Page of Wands energy, they're going to seem very passionate, but they're going to seem very passionate about everything. And then do they have realistically the personality that is a doer, right? In this space, the King of Pentacles, being the King of Pentacles, is going to be far more of a doer energy, far more of a being in a space where they have a stability, they have leadership, they are a security. It's also very, very earthy energy as well, fire and earth, you know. So that's like Leo and Virgo are in the King of Pentacles. And so having sort of an energy then that comes in that's a lot more stable, or even an offer that's a lot more stable. And also getting outside of this energy here of feeling kind of, there is some semblance of feeling a bit jaded or betrayed in certain spaces. I don't think that betrayal in your past is all that uncommon. So you know, there's probably has been moments in your past where there has been sort of this energy here. I don't think this is coincidence that these are so close together. This energy here of the Page of Wands, right, which is that love bombing kind of space, right, and where they are really, in a sense, moving strategically to get what they want in that space. And oftentimes what they want is very self-motivated. You know, the things that they want, they're thinking with their wand. Okay, so it's very like head over heart. Okay. And now this is talking here on the bottom here is there's some sort of leap of faith towards a King of Pentacles energy. It's going to come into your awareness fairly quickly. And they're going to be this type of energy that provides, you know, it's interesting because I had this hit just now that they're going to feel like home. It's that they're going to feel as though everything kind of falls in correctly. They're going to be able to provide you this equal give and take, and it will be a space of celebration. Now, in terms of timeline, you know, I don't really know timelines on things, and I don't necessarily enjoy going down, you know, providing people time on in terms of tarot. Quick, however, I would argue would be within this year. You know, I would say that would be relatively quick energy, would be within, you know, a 6 month, you know, like even quicker than that. I feel like a year would be a little bit longer than, you know, probably within 6 months. Like this is going to be something that transpires, and there's going to be this sort of moment where, in my opinion, sort of getting out of looking at these energies here, these sort of Page of Wands energy, the Seven of Swords here, which is, well, the Seven of Swords is like, you know, burdensome even, and really trusting in these kind of, not that the Page of Wands is like a super bad card by any means, it's not, but being able to be in a space of celebration then here, in terms of, and this could also be collective two, or collective one, sorry. It doesn't necessarily have to be surrounding, okay, a relationship. This could be a business adventure too. This collective the other day had a lot of stuff about entrepreneurship. Okay, so this very well could be some sort of collaboration then that comes in with a very, that ends up being very lucrative for you. Okay, or some kind of adventure, business adventure that you have. Now, I, as a woman, even believe that when you are in business and you are hustling, there is you have to have a balance of masculinity in that space. You have to be able to be action oriented. You have to go after what you want and have confidence in it as well. A lot of those action based spaces within business are actually masculine. You know, when they say it's a man's world, they're not lying. And in order to be a player in that space, we do have to kind of adapt in. And so this would be even you could be in this space where you're putting in the work and it's going to eventually just like, boom, one day come in like, whew, thank you. All the hard work that you put in is then going to pay off, and there's going to be a space of celebration. So those are sort of the two timelines, or they can be, again, those parallel timelines where they'll exist together for you. Okay, last message here for you. Group 1, what you're not seeing. What is group 1 not seeing? Here's that 5 of Cups again. Something in my shadow. Oh, uh-oh. Well, it doesn't have to be up. Oh, hold up. Hang on a second. Hang on. Hold up. Okay. So I think what you're not seeing is that you might have more than one option. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so there would have been a situation in your past, something that caused you a great deal of pain. And I'm going to argue that that was in a relationship, okay, where you held all the communication, you held all the stability, and this person was really, or there could be some kind of communication or something that occurred, okay, in that space, in the space of, well, it doesn't necessarily also have to be that. I mean, but swords are very typically surrounding that. But anyway, there was something in your past. Let's just start there. There's something in your past that caused you a great deal of heartache, okay? And this brought in some sort of awareness, okay? So some sort of message was delivered to you. And it doesn't have to be necessarily that it was like someone specifically delivered you a message. No, it could be that the universe, you know, delivered you a message. And a message in terms of awareness. This sort of tipped the scales of justice. Karma, right? Karmic energy. And there's good karma and there's bad karma, but this would be good karma, okay? This would be fairness. This would be that what we give, we receive. So if you remained well-intentioned in a certain space and then you were sort of stabbed in the back, right? That maintaining sort of your demeanor or your ability to still offer either, you know, sometimes this could even be praying for somebody who hurt you kind of vibe, right? Or being in a space where you maintained your good intentions. You maintained being kind and compassionate and understanding even, and then were stabbed in the back. And this is saying that like the lessons that you learned in that pain, from that pain, are bringing in abundance into your life, okay? Bringing you into this Queen of Pentacles space from something that you walked away from in your past. This sort of this backstabbing energy that you walked away from in your past. Now, what you're not seeing, ironically, and I feel like this is in the dark, that what you're not seeing, you don't have an awareness of in this moment, is that there are others suitors here. Like you have the Knight of Swords here. So what you're not seeing is that you are going to have, or eventually you're going to see that you have options, okay? We have the Knight of Cups here, we have the Knight of Pentacles here, and we have the King of Cups. And interestingly enough, you see how they're all moving this way, right? All of these cards are moving this way. And look where this Knight of Swords is moving. He's moving that way, right? He's looking here at this, you know, backstabbing energy back here, which is, I love the way that tarot plays out, like in imagery, okay? These are all forward moving energies here, right? They're not going to set you back. And so this is going to be, you know, coming in with sort of this, and these even could be like energies of one person, but I don't know, with this Seven of Cups coming out here, I'm going to argue that it's more than one person. And I've already said, like in Collective One, there's a lot of people, there is a lot of energy on you right now. It's like all eyes on you. It's a lot. I feel it, and I know that y'all feel it. There's a lot of people that are kind of peeking in on you, okay? And this is, and also it is going to be, if you're single, it's also going to be people that are coming in with opportunities to sort of court you in a sense. And I feel as though it's going to be more than one person has their eye on you. More than one person is interested in building with you. And now you have this awareness of being able to see when something is good for you and when something is not good for you, and have the discernment, to determine which energies are realistically even worth your time. You know, time is the most valuable asset that we have to provide other people. And if you're giving your time to somebody, it needs to be worth it. And so I think you'll be able to decipher who's kind of worth, okay, this seems like a decent offer. This seems like something I can reciprocate with. Let's see what they have to say. And this is also going to be in... I mean, this very well could be other opportunities as well, but this is really coming in sort of more like relationship wise, where these are suitors essentially, and it's really going to be more than one. Now, I do think there's going to be one that kind of stands out. Okay, there's going to be some kind of King of Cups that comes in, where they're very emotionally intelligent, they're emotionally balanced, they're compassionate, they're very empathetic. They have a leadership quality to them. So they're going to have all of those things that they have kind of rolled into one thing in this King of Cups. And that I feel like is going to be the one that kind of stands out. But you might be in a space, group one, where you might have to determine who's who here. Interesting. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get you I think we're just going to do one message card here. To close out your reading. I think that there was a lot of, you know, I think you just got the meat and potatoes of your read. So we'll just do one. What is one message for group one, please? This one. Oh, I choose love no matter what. Yeah, I think this is a collective that has really kind of built into an awareness of how unconditional love works. Even when someone is hurting us, sometimes we have to recognize that the person that they're hurting isn't us, it's themselves. Or the person that's hurting. Hurt people, right? And so if they're feeling some type of way internally, they're going to project onto us. And so building into an awareness that doesn't always, it doesn't mean we have to respond to it, right? We can respond with love. We can also love from a distance too, and that's really important to understand as well. All right, group one, if that resonated with you, please like and subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment down below. Leave me a sun emoji to let me know that this was your reading. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Group two. Hello, group two. I think we're just going to dive right into it. So what I'm doing is 3 separate what you're not seeing messages, and whatever the cards tell me, that's what we're going to talk about, okay? So let's go ahead and just dive right into your reading and figure out what you're not seeing, group two. I thought it'd be cool today to do like an emoji. Sometimes I have people comment on a video, but they won't say which collective they're in. So if you are in group two, if you can put a lotus flower in the comments so I know which collective you're coming from, that would be awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and figure out what you're not seeing. Okay, well, maybe you're not seeing that you are the Empress. That's the Empress coming out. Princess of Wands. If y'all haven't seen this deck before, it's very feminine. So instead of pages, we have princesses, which I am here for. Okay, and then we have on the bottom. Ooh, on the bottom of the deck is the Lovers in reverse. Okay. Six of Swords, Ten of Cups. And then you have... This deck cracks me up, y'all. This is the Fool, but instead it's called the Foolish Man. It's like, I feel like that is not a coincidence in this feminine deck. Okay, we're here for it. Oh, funny. Okay. You dealing with a foolish man? Oh, okay. So what you're not seeing, okay, I do feel like this is surrounding kind of a connection here. And I think that honestly what you're not seeing is like that you are worth more than you have been accepting yourself for yourself. You're coming in with this Empress energy. Okay, so Empress energy would be an embodiment of all the queens. Okay, so it would be being very emotionally stable, being very sensual, being balanced, having stability, being communicative or articulate. Like, you have all of the things. You have everything to offer, and yet perhaps have been dealing with sort of these. Now, I'm going to say this is so interesting, actually, because the interesting thing that I find about the Princess of Wands being that it's a feminine energy is that there are masculines who operate in a feminine energy, and the even more overlapping irony here is that they often operate in a Page of Wands energy. So it's kind of like this deck is funny, you know. It's kind of funny because it's really like it's like, I don't know, maybe it's just how I'm reading it, but it's like poking fun at that a little bit by calling it a Princess of Wands. Oh, so funny. Because this would be sort of that love bombing energy. This would be so maybe people that are a little bit aesthetically attractive, but they're like the player energy, okay? And they want attention from everyone, and they also want to be chased, and they want to feel incessantly reassured, but they're not reassuring themselves. They don't give what they take, right? And so this is kind of dealing with those kind of energies. And it's so funny because just last night I was thinking about the quote, men these days want to be chased, and then at the end of it says, I ain't doing it, princess. And then this sort of hit, or this like storyline comes in with this deck about the Princess of Wands, and I swear we just might start calling these player energies the Princess of Wands. It might be a new thing. We might make a movement on that. Let's do it. But however, what this is saying is that what you're not seeing is that there's a good possibility that you're repeating a cycle here with this type of energy. You may be actually dealing with an energy right now, and you might be in a space of impatience with this energy. And I think that what your guidance is wanting you to know, or what you're not seeing, is sort of this hit. It's like you've been here before. This is something that you've experienced in the past, and what the message kind of is, it's like same situation, or what is it? Same space, different face, right? And really having to build into an awareness of that, which interesting, you have fortitude coming out here, because that's something that is either that you are, well, I feel like this is the unseen, so we gotta stay in that zone, okay? There could be something. So this is the interesting thing, is that I don't feel like this collective has a total absence of awareness in this space, okay? I think you do know, but this is sort of going in and kind of going, okay, well, here we are, like we're in this space, and why are we being impatient with a player? This is not a union space. We're not in the Lovers in the upright. And then also we're in the Six of Swords space as well, which is very burdensome, like hanging on to essentially all the burden while thinking something's the 10 of cups, right? And really taking a risk in this space. Now, normally I wouldn't see the Fool as, I mean, I do see it as risk taking, but I see risk taking as a good thing. Now, again, here we go. I don't think this is coincidental in this deck. This is called the Foolish Man. And I think so, in my opinion, it's like taking a risk with a fool. And I don't like to, it's so interesting because I don't like to read the Fool card. I can't stand when I hear it, like this person's being a fool, you know, but on it, like, ironically in this deck, that it kind of is that. And so sort of like this wish fulfillment, right, of wanting this sort of 10 of Cups out of a Princess of Wands. And that's not going to happen. The King of Cups can provide you the 10 of Cups, or the Emperor can provide you the 10 of Cups, or the, you know, King of Pentacles can even provide you this. But can the Princess of Wands? No, honey. And in fact, the Empress is far more capable of creating a 10 of Cups all by herself without this. This is an energy that would hold you back. Now, the interesting thing about the Princess of Wands here in the energy is that they're moving that way, okay? Going backwards, okay? And then some of these other feminine energies here, like the Fortitude moving forwards, okay? So those are very telling signs. This particular, well, this is always in that space. Is it? No, I think it's always the other way. But interestingly enough, in this deck as well, it's moving that way as well. So I think that the thing that we're not seeing realistically is that you might have a type. You might have a type. So let's figure out what else we're not seeing in that space. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way, but, you know, listen, if you're, let me back up. Okay. So when you are tapping into a collective on this channel, you are tapping into alignment with me. All right. So I've been in all of these spaces. That's why I understand them so intricately. So you are not in this boat all by yourself. And when I said that, I didn't mean like, you know, it wasn't, I've been there too. And sometimes it's a message to self as well. So please don't take it personally. Okay. Here we go. 10 of Swords in the reverse. That's good. 9 of Pentacles. What else aren't we seeing? Here's a King of Swords. Hello. What is he writing in on? I haven't really studied all these cards. Wow. Okay. It looks like he's like riding in on his wheelchair. That's interesting. I love the imagery in this stuff because if you think about it, you know, the King of Swords is the action that they have is really communication, right? So it's not necessarily like they don't need their legs for that. It's fascinating. Very interesting deck. I'm a big fan of this deck. I ain't gonna lie. It's humorous, and it also is like the imagery just makes a lot of sense. At least in my brain. Might be a little, but okay. So what are we not seeing? There's some sort of heartbreak that we have endured that we have learned a lot from in this space. So there is like someone in your past or some kind of situation in your past where you were really stabbed in the back in a certain scenario, right? You were really betrayed essentially. And you built in quite a bit of emotional abundance in particular from that experience, okay? And moved into awareness that what you really need realistically is somebody who can communicate very clearly. One thing, and this doesn't apply probably to everyone in this collective, but one thing that I heard once was that reassurance is a language for those healing from trauma. And when I read that, I was like, that makes so much sense. Like at one point in time, even still now, I need communicated with, like, I don't want to read between the lines in any capacity with any person. Like, tell me how you're feeling. Tell me what you really think. Don't be condescending. Don't be passive aggressive, and don't leave me in a space where I have to figure out how you're feeling. Like, you best tell me how you're feeling, or you're done, you know? And so I feel like this is something that is like the awareness here, or what you need to know, or what you need to see, is that this is the kind of energy that you need realistically. Like at the very basics, need someone who can communicate to you exactly how they feel, exactly what they're thinking, and really reassure you in a way that you don't end up in this like space in your head where you're sort of overthinking things, right? And really being able to see then when something is just not in balance with you, and like being able to decipher the difference between a Ten of Cups energy and really an energy that is a lesson, kind of. It's a space of resistance with this Lovers in the reverse again. It's interesting these two came out again. They're like, no, we weren't done talking about this. Okay, fine. Then you have the Three of Wands, Two of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Hermit on the bottom of the deck. Okay, so this is talking about some kind of internal work, laying down the foundations to get into the space of equal give and take in order to see that new beginning and to spend a little bit of time in sort of reflecting. Okay, so there's some kind of awareness, something in your psyche, or something in your patterns of behavior, or perhaps even why it is that you're attracted into these energies that are non-communicative and yet are sort of in a space where it's like they're promising. Or okay, so more so, why we are so attracted to words over action, and kind of moving into that space. I really feel like that's the foundations that needs to be sort of dissected a little bit in order to get into the space of equal give and take. And this is talking about a new beginning. So something, I feel like it very well could be that you are in the Hermit phase right now, and that you're in this learning. So it seems like what we are learning is sort of how to get out of being in spaces where we're essentially seeking validation in the people that are around us, and how to get out of that. Really, and what I would argue that the foundation that you would realistically need in that space is to figure out how to validate self so that you don't need validation outside of self, and really trusting yourself, and really being in a space where any time that someone projects at you, you don't have any, it doesn't, you move from an observer status. You don't take it personally. You don't feel harmed or hurt or jaded. You just see it as a projection, because that's what it is. And then also move into a space of going, okay, well, if this is a problem, like if this is something that you do, I can't obviously spend a whole lot of time in your energy, because then we're not in the equal give and take then energy, right? We're not giving in mutually. It's one person sort of kind of expecting the other person to kind of do all the emotional work, and not only that, hold all the emotional burden and accept less than they deserve. And we're done with that, aren't we, group 2? Yes, ma'am. All right. What else is group 2 not seeing in this moment? I'm a big fan of the wit in this deck, y'all. I love it. Thank you, Rebecca, for referring this deck to me. I love it. I don't know if this is how it's supposed to be read, but that's how I read it. Two of Wands, Judgment. What else aren't we seeing here? Eight of Swords in the reverse. Seven of Swords in the reverse. Temperance in the reverse. Oh, okay. All right, here we go. Ten of Pentacles. Princess of Pentacles in the reverse. Three of Cups in the reverse. And Two of Pentacles in the reverse. Okay. I do think that there's something you're missing, and there's something that needs kind of dissected and needs reflected on. It is surrounding karma, okay? So it is surrounding the idea that what we give out, we receive, okay? So if you are in a space in which you're dwelling on a situation, well, then you're only going to be provided what? More room to dwell. So if you're looking at a situation or a scenario, you're like, man, I feel, yeah, I mean, put in any kind of limiting emotion in that space. So I feel worry, concern, betrayed, anxious, angry even. And I would, it's okay to feel all of those things. We just don't, we're not going to sit in those things. We're not going to dwell in those things. We're not going to ruminate in those things, right? No. So this, I feel like what's sort of missing or what needs dissected is really becoming conscious of thought patterns in particular. Being cautious, well, I might have said cautious for a reason. Okay, conscience, conscience. Oh, here we go. Listen, like, y'all, the dang retrograde and my ability to communicate is just, ugh. Okay. Being conscious, okay. The word that I'm trying to say, you're all here with me? Okay, moving on. Being aware, thank you, of the thought patterns that you have that are sort of limiting you from moving forward into a space where this equal give and take is being offered to you. And realistically, if y'all think about it, it is equal give and take if you're worried about a situation, because then what's getting given back to you is equal, right? More to worry about. And so it's like, okay, well, here's the equality in that situation. That's how the law of attraction, or that's how energetic alignment works realistically. And so if we're in a burdensome space, then all that the energy that can be given back to you is like, well, okay, like, you're giving me burden, so I'm going to give you burden. And so, or you're giving me anxiety, so I'm going to give you anxiety. And if you can shift your perspective, then you can shift your awareness. Now, the thing is that this requires patience. Okay. So here we are with this temperance in reverse, being in an impatient space. First of all, impatience is resistance. So the more in which you're impatient about something, the more that you are going to be given opportunity to ding, 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 be impatient. Patience is built through patience, you know. That was so intelligent. Patience is built through patience. But really, no, it really is about moving into a space in which you are, it's sort of moving into the absence of expectation. So moving into a space where you're not looking at situations and scenarios with like trying to determine an outcome, or dwelling on an outcome, or dwelling on a solution, and just leaving it, surrendering it a little bit and going, okay, well, I don't know the answer to this because this is an unknown space. This is unknown territory. I don't know how somebody else is thinking. I don't know what somebody else is going to do realistically. I only know what I can see in front of me, and what I can see in front of me is not this person. So who is in front of me? Well, you are, you are there with yourself. And also, sometimes we become even blinded to the people who are around us, who are giving to us freely. And we can kind of inadvertently get tunnel visioned on these people that aren't giving to us, and then we're not seeing all the people who are there for us. Get present. That's going to really help you in sort of navigating these pathways. That's going to get you into a little bit more abundance in terms of all of the things that you are seeking in this moment, get you into a space of celebration, and also balance you out as well. Really, really, really understanding the law of vibration is going to help you tremendously in this collective. All right, we're going to do one message for you from the Universe Has Your Back deck, and then that will be the end of your reading, group 2. All right. What is, ooh, I lost it. Okay, one more. I stuffed it back in on accident. Oh, interesting. This is also in group 1. So I choose love no matter what. Yeah, and actually that's a really important narrative here as well, because sometimes, like, again, when we're in a space and someone's projecting onto us, if we are not careful, we can project right back, right? So if someone comes at you a certain way, or so say someone's like condescending or passive aggressive towards you, and you're aware of it, right? Well, you can see that and go, you can get angry and respond like, you know what, screw you. Or you can be like, that's a you problem. That doesn't have anything to do with me. Obviously you feel some type of way about yourself right now. I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to continue doing me. I'm going to continue being, happy in my space. I'm not going to allow somebody else to bring me down. And that would be a sort of responding to negative sort of projections with a positive mindset, and moving into that mindset that's a little bit more growth oriented, I think is what we need to see in this moment, group 2. So if that resonated with you, please like and subscribe to my channel. Remember to leave me a lotus flower in the comments. Thank you so much for being here, group 2. Enjoy the rest of your day. Group 3. Hello, group 3. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just dive right into this on what you're not seeing. We're going to do 3 messages about whatever it is that you're not seeing and need to be made aware of in this moment. I am going into this blindly, so I have no idea what we're about to discuss. So let's go ahead and get into your reading, group 3. Now, I've been providing everyone an emoji to leave me in the comments section because sometimes people will comment and I have no idea what collective they're coming from because they don't always say group 1, group 2, group 3. So if you can leave a moon emoji in the comments so they know that you're on group 3, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, group 3. What are we not seeing in group 3? No. Oh, not me coming in with a... What is group 3 not seeing? Now hang on here. Hold up here. Hold up a second. Let me just see if this deck is all upside down before we move any further. Oh, it's not, so okay. Okay, are we in a moment, group 3? All right. Okay. Interesting. What is it that we're not seeing for group 3? It seems like we're very fixated actually on something that doesn't, that seems to be a cycle that's been repeated. Okay. And this would be, here's the thing, is that you have the King of Cups coming out as being sort of the forefront of focus. It's like, but realistically, this quote unquote King of Cups, which I'm just going to argue in this read, does not feel like a King of Cups. Okay, he feels a little bit like a Page of Wands. And I'm going to tell y'all, in the last reading I had, the deck that is before this, it calls the Page of Wands, it calls it the Princess of Wands, and the Page of Wands energy, in my opinion, is a male or like a masculine player energy that moves in feminine energy, needs to be chased, needs to be this, needs to be that, and yet they might be a little bit love bombing to sort of get what they want, and this makes us act like animals. Okay. But realistically, like this connection or whatever has gone on in this space, it really feels very, it doesn't feel like there is equal give and take. It doesn't feel like there is any kind of union in this space. It feels a lot like there is really, there's no building or abundance, and it's kind of being in a space of essentially not even just repeating cycles, but in a space of purgatory, in a sense of just well, yeah, no, it is kind of being in a repeating cycle. It's like dealing with the same thing and expecting different results, and then growing impatient. It's very easy to grow impatient with this kind of energy because they want to be chased, and our innate space as feminines is to be in a receptive energy. So that creates resistance when you have a masculine operating in a feminine energy as the Princess of Wands, who wants, just last night I was thinking about that that quote that's like, how does it go? It's like, men these days want to be chased, and then at the end of it says, I ain't doing it, princess. And yeah, exactly. Because here's the thing is that a masculine in that energy doesn't understand the feminine energy. So they don't provide any reciprocity, which the feminine energy does. When a feminine energy is given to, they multiply, they reciprocate. When a masculine is in a feminine energy and they're not necessarily supposed to be in that space, they take and take and take, somewhat selfishly even, and expect the feminine then to do all the work and expect the feminine to be the one chasing, while they just sort of sit here in this space. And so this is sort of, in my opinion, I would argue that this King of Cups is not a King of Cups and is actually a mask for this Page of Wands. And so this could be a King of Cups would be somebody who maybe at one point seemed to be very and another thing too is they can get really love bomby to get what they want, and it doesn't mean that they don't feel those things. It's just they have shiny object syndrome. So in the moment, you're their shiny object, and they're like, I love this shiny object. The shiny object is so shiny and I love it. And then it's like they begin to dissect you a little bit or get to know you, or they, and especially if you are a feminine worth their weight in salt, then if you are able to sort of determine that, oh, hold up, this is not a King of Cups, this is a Page of Wands, and then your energy begins to sort of build into an awareness of that, well, suddenly you're not quite as interesting once you're smart enough to, you know, catch on to them, right? And so this is kind of, it's more about like just repeating an energy or repeating a cycle with this type of energy and expecting it to end up differently. And this has a lot to do with being, it just really does have to do a lot with being a feminine who's operating a little bit in a masculine space, and not even innately, but these type of energies will put you in that space, and they will make you, well, not make you, but you tend to behave then in that space with a lot of impatience and a lot of then action oriented space. It puts us, it places us as having to be the masculine, and essentially what it is at the root is mothering. If you think about it, you know, it's like having to, you know, it's like having to remind them of their own absence of follow through and being like, well, you've said this and you're not doing that. Once you get into that space with a masculine energy, you are mothering them if you are a feminine energy. And so this is sort of being in this, I don't know if this is entirely unseen, but I mean, that's what the reading is supposed to be about. And so it's really being able to recognize, okay, the why. Why are we in this space with these energies? Well, in some element, it's we're wanting an outcome, and it's essentially a life path of chasing alternative outcomes. It's a life path of chasing expectation. And what we need to do is move into acceptance in this space. Acceptance is going to be the thing that helps us, as accepting when a behavior in another person is just not in alignment with us. And it's not. Like, you have the Four of Wands in reverse. We don't want that. At no time ever do we want to see the Four of Wands sitting in the reverse space. And so, at least in my opinion, unless it's like, you know, I guess, well, I lied. Yes, we do. We do when it's certain energies. And so in this reading, it actually makes sense. But for the kind of union that you want, you know, if we're talking about, you know, life partnerships or a partner that provides equal give and take, well, obviously we want that to be in the upright. Okay. So this is sort of moving into the why. Okay, moving into why is it that we're operating in this space? Why are we seeking validation outside of ourselves? Why are we in this sort of codependent space? I don't personally feel like it's entirely wrong to be codependent when you are in a space of healthy connection. I think that it's okay for that to be, you know, co-creating is okay. I don't really like the way that we dissected the word codependent and made it a negative word, because co and co-create is cooperation, coexist. Okay, dependent, you know, would be being dependent upon one another. Somehow we get into codependent and it's being reliable on another person, but realistically that would be dependency. So I don't know why. Anyway, sorry, it's a word dissect with you here, collective 3, but I mean, right? So I don't know, but anyway, I think it's okay to have a healthy space of that. Now, when you become sort of in a space of wanting, not it's kind of moving through life with rose colored glasses a little bit, or at least within connections, okay? And it's just chasing the alternative outcome. And so it is about moving into a space of acceptance and being and really moving into a space of being able to choose ourselves when someone is not choosing us to. I'm gonna move these actually into the upright when they go back in the deck. Okay, what else is group 3 not seeing, please? I'm gonna pull this guy out too. Okay. Oh, this seems to be a theme today. Okay. Okay. What are we not seeing? There's some kind of idea surrounding, or it feels like the information that you need, essentially, in a space is that it almost seems like what would actually pair well with you is somebody who is far more capable of just, if, like acts of service. You'd be far more like with somebody who just does, who is action oriented, who is a bit of a leader quality, would be, because this type of energy that you've been dealing with is literally the antithesis of that. That's so head over heart. It's very little emotion. In fact, I would argue it's very emotionally unavailable. And the thing that we have to get into awareness of is that when a masculine really feels some type of way, they will do what it takes. But sometimes they're so closed off emotionally that they tend to sort of seek out the next best thing, and then it's not usually until much later that they see sort of the ones who kind of got away. But it's so they move from such a prideful space that it's like, if they build an awareness of this, they still don't have even the courage to accept that. There's zero accountability in those energies, realistically. And so they don't tend to have the ability to look at situations and hold themselves accountable. Is that realistically what you want? Because this is it's an immaturity is what it is. It's not necessarily like, sometimes we get real tripped up in the modern way of looking at mental health, and we tend to argue that these are malicious or strategic, and it's just they're children. Let's get down to brass tacks. They're just not emotionally mature. That's all it is. Will they ever move into an emotional maturity? Not so long as they are continuing to get away with it. And unfortunately, we do still have an entire collective of people that really get roped in by these energies and end up in a state of purgatory with them, and also end up in a space of inner turmoil where we're kind of beating ourselves up because it's time consuming. It's time consuming to put that much energy into somebody who isn't stable. Who is really the antithesis of stable and is only providing heartache, realistically. And so this is kind of talking about what you don't see is that there really needs to be a new beginning surrounding being with these energies that are not abundant, that are not in a space of real reciprocity, that aren't in a space of equal give and take. Or realistically, and here's the thing is that when you, in terms of energetic alignment, it is equal give and take. And that's something that we have to build into awareness with self. If we put animosity, anxiousness, or worry into a space, then what is going to be delivered back to us is more to be anxious about, more to be worried about, more to be concerned about, because that's putting us in energetic alignment with our most prominent thoughts and feelings. And that's all that the universe then can provide you back in return, because that's the way the law of vibration and the law of attraction and energetic alignment work. So if we are continuing to be in a space where we're looking at these situations and feeling jaded, well, all we're doing is projecting out onto the world around us that we would like to feel jaded. And that's hard to wrap our head around. But once we move into acceptance and we realize that the way that people treat us as a projection of their internal thought processes and how they feel about themselves, and we can move into a space where we're not taking it personally, then we can move forward and step outside of this cycle. But we're not going to step outside of that cycle until we begin to understand that, and we can begin to build an awareness that how we think and how we feel matters, our most prominent thoughts. Now, it's not saying like go into things with blind optimism. You have to move with a belief in it. That's the biggest thing that comes in with vibration, right? You can say, I'm happy, but if you don't feel happy, then you're not in vibration. Those are just words. And this is important too, because in this collective, we get very hung up on words having more meaning than they do, but realistically, action has meaning. Action has follow through. Action tells you exactly how someone feels by how much they are doing. Okay? So if we are constantly in a space where our actions and all of our actions are around, okay, for instance, someone's not communicating with us, and then we start kind of peeking in on them and seeing what they're doing, or kind of thinking about them all the time, or stalking them a little bit and being like, what are they up to? Why are they communicating? What's, now, like, even though we're literally existing in a space, but our head is somewhere else, our mind is somewhere else, our thoughts and feelings and the vibration that we are giving out has nothing to do with the present moment. It has everything to do with the feelings that we have inside our head. So now we're in this space where we're in a present moment, but we're with that person somewhere else, and all we're doing is putting resistance into it, because we're dwelling and we're thinking, and everything that we're thinking is not a positive vibration. It is worry. And so what are you being given back when you're giving out worry? More to worry about. That's how this works. That's how energetic alignment works. That's how the law of attraction works. If you want to, put it into as terms that maybe make more sense, is that it is energetic alignment is real. You tapping into this reading and connecting in the way that you do is not coincidence. Realistically, it is because you are in alignment with this reading energetically. That alone is the proof of energetic alignment. Just tapping into a tarot reading and resonating it to the capacity that you do is energetic alignment. So we just need to have awareness then of that, because sometimes what we're doing inadvertently is creating our own heartache. All right, let's go one more of the things that you are not seeing in this moment, group 3. Okay, what is group 3 not seeing? It seems to me like this is just repeating the same thing, group 3. It's just driving. It's like, no, that's what we're here to talk about. And I feel like I've already kind of given you, I just feel like, here's the thing. Okay, I'm not even going to go anymore. Well, wait, hold on. What's on the bottom of the deck? We have the Knight of Wands and this. Okay, and then there's that Three of Swords again. Okay, I'm not going to say it again. Because it is just the theme of this, and I don't really want us to go down the rabbit hole. Plus, I feel like I just provided you a really meaty thing to dissect in terms of the advice in that scenario. So if I say it again, I feel like I'm just going to be repeating the same thing I just said. So I feel like we've already covered what you're not seeing in the first 2 spots here. So I'm just going to go ahead and move right into the messages. And I'll just give you a little bit more than I did the other ones. That way you're still getting a pretty decent read. But I just don't, this is literally, y'all, is saying the exact same thing that was just said in the previous 2 readings. And so we're just going to be in a space of just beating a dead horse at that point if I say it again. So Everyone else had one message. I'll give you just 4 of these. That way then you have a little bit more of a reading too, and don't feel kind of gypped out of that last space. So, all right, what are some... This is the Gabrielle Bernstein, The Universe Has Your Back deck. Hey, y'all, you know what? You should read that book. And actually, yeah, you should pick up that book because it does talk about surrender and also having a daily practice with surrender and getting out of like habitual thought patterns that are sort of holding us back. Really, it's a wonderful book. In fact, I love Gabby Bernstein. Y'all should just follow her in general. Okay. 2 more for your messages. Oh, this little guy wanted to pop out here. Oh, I love that. It says obstacles or detours in the right direction. Exactly. Okay, so your messages here. Hold on, let me be a little bit put together here. Joy is the ultimate creator. Yes. See, and that's the talking about the creator space, right? Is that we have to understand that we are sort of the creators of our own individual sort of universes, right? Don't get weird and get that into like a God complex, but it is more so of that we are manifesting our own realities. And it's how free will works realistically. If we want to distinguish ourselves, when we have a space that is centered around a higher power or centered around an external influence that is guiding us and putting us into alignment, and that we kind of have the magic wand in that space as the manifestors, as that's our free will. Our free will is to determine the reality that we want realistically. And so if we are moving in joy, or we're moving in gratitude, or we're moving from good intention, then all we can have and receive in return is more to be good intention is going to be reciprocated back to us. Okay. The moment I embrace my peace within and surrender to the outcome is the moment that the universe can truly get to work. Yes, this is all about manifestation. And so I think a big thing that you're not seeing is that you are manifesting this. Manifestation works in a multitude of ways. It's interesting because in our society, we tend to see manifestation as a good thing, but that's not true. It is an honest thing, okay? It is... If you are in a space of dwelling on a negative outcome, you are manifesting in that space. Manifestation is a two-way street. Manifestation doesn't care about your feelings either. And it's giving you what you're asking for, essentially, and that's how it works. So we need to get out of a space of seeing the word manifestation as though it is always a positive thing, because no, it is positive when used correctly. And not even correctly. Sometimes that was a wrong word, because it is fair. It is giving us what we're asking for. And sometimes manifesting sort of the things we don't want is what helps us to be able to move into an awareness to manifest what we do want. So I don't really feel like manifestation realistically has like a that it's always like it's a bad thing at any point, but it is an alignment with our thoughts and feelings. Okay. I witness the darkness and call on the light with my prayer. Thank you, universe, for guiding me to perceive this fear through the eyes of the teacher of love. Yes. And that is the thing here, is that oftentimes that when we're moving in this space, not to get real deep here, but oftentimes it is a fear of rejection or a fear of abandonment, right? And so at the core issue then is just not wanting to feel rejected and trying to avoid that, you know? And sometimes I think we need to see it as we're rejecting ourselves by accepting less for ourselves, right? Okay. All right, group 3, that is your reading. If this resonated with you, please like and subscribe to my channel. Leave me a moon emoji down below so that I know that you were in the group 3 collective. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day.